Welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Romano. Today I'm going to give you 3 pointers on how to actually keep your income. And that equals how to keep your wealth and how to sustain your wealth throughout your generation and multiple generations. It's a simple formula that you could use throughout your life, whether you're making 50 grand a year or you're making millions of dollars a year, billions of dollars a year. There's a YouTuber called mrbeast. And if you know who mrbeast is, he's been doing really well on YouTube. He has an enormous following and he does make a lot of money per year. And he also spends a lot of money per year on each video. And that's part of his methodology. And yes, he's very young and he started when he was young and now he's probably in his early 20s. He's very tall. I met him in Val in 2022. He was with some friends and the funny thing is that I mentioned, I said, thank you so much. Please remember to look me up on YouTube. My name is Dr. Hedge Fund. And they laughed so hard. I would like to dedicate this video to him because he is very young and making 80 million a year or 40 million or 30 million, that's a lot of money. And you have to know how to keep wealth as opposed to spending all of it and giving it to Uncle Sam. Before we continue the video, please remember to do thumbs up. All it takes is 1 split second, just press that button, it's right there, to say thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much. The first thing mrbeast should do is his YouTube channel should be in an LLC. I'm sure he has that. Secondly, the owner of that LLC in the state that he lives in should be his private foundation. So in other words, his YouTube channel that makes money 30, 40, 50 million a year, the owner of that YouTube channel should be an LLC in the state that he lives in, and the owner of that LLC should not be him. It should be his private foundation. His private foundation must be in another country besides the country that he lives in. This is extremely important. So let's say that the best place for private foundations is actually Liechtenstein. Because Liechtenstein has a stringent constitution which produces an incredible wealth for their country and freedoms for their country, just like Switzerland has, but Switzerland is a bigger country than Liechtenstein. The point of doing this is that, all right, so if mrbeast does not change his LLC for his YouTube channel and his ownership, what he can do, this is another method, is that he could give 30% away to his own private foundation. That's tax-free, and the other 70% of his income, he'll have to pay income tax on it, minus whatever he spends for his business, etc. Okay, however, you have to also remember that 70% income, let's say it's 70 million a year. So let's make it easy. Let's just say that he makes 100 million a year, which he doesn't. He could take 30 million a year and give it to his private foundation, tax-free. And that money could actually continue to grow because the private foundation will also own assets such as a hedge fund portfolio, a company that he purchased, or an apartment building, something that generates money, or a fixed asset that doesn't generate money, such as real estate. He could buy land or whatever he wants. If he loves nature, then buy some land in Wyoming or Nebraska and create a buffalo farm. That's big money in the buffalo industry. Secondly, it's a tax deduction because you're preserving the buffalo. Now, if he doesn't want to do that, what he can also do is, so he takes 30 million a year, puts in his private foundation that's tax-free, and then he could give the other 70 million and put it in an active managed fund. Is an entity that you still have control over what you want done with the assets. And so that active managed fund could generate even more returns. Now, of course, an active managed fund, there's all these restrictions and what you have to do. It just depends where you create that active management fund. But you're still in control. And the private foundation that he owns, he's still in control. And you could pay your expenses for your kids, your college for the kids. You could own a house that you live in for your private foundation. You could have multiple houses. And of course, on the books, you'll have to pay some rent. And of course, taxes you could pay for yourself. So that's considered rent. There's always to fix this. Now, the reason why I say this is because Mr. Beast is making a lot of money. And he is extremely young. People who make money when they're younger, the older they get, that's a less of a chance that they have. So right now, he's at the top of his career, and his generation, those followers, those people in their early 20s, their teens that are watching him and that are being entertained by him, eventually those kids are going to get older and they're going to fall out of sync at what Mr. Beast likes. Now, think of Benny Hill. Benny Hill was a British TV show, and at that time period, people actually thought that was funny. I still think that's funny, but today, when you would watch Benny Hill, you wouldn't think that's funny. It's actually racist. So again, Mr. Beast has to realize that he's not going to make $80 million a year forever. It's only going to be another 4 to 5 years of him actually making money, because once your generation gets older and their habits change, right now they're in their teens, they're home, they're not working, they're just in high school, junior high school, so they have a lot more time to watch your videos. But you need to be really careful, because when this changes, that change happens. When you're in your 20s and you enter your 30s, you're a different person. So my advice to Mr. Beast is start saving as much money as you can by giving your channel to your private foundation, because there's huge tax advantages of that. It no longer is a U.S. citizen, your company. It is owned by a private foundation that's in another foreign country. And it's very important that you do that, because there are huge tax advantages. There's also legal issues that you may have to deal with, that you could get sued. What if the courts say that you have to pay this person that broke their leg or their leg was amputated in one of your videos, and you have to pay them $80 million? That's an enormous amount of money. So again, what you could do, and this is very important, anyone that's in your video, you do not pay them through your channel's company name. You create another LLC that's called YouTube management or YouTube film production management, and that company pays those people directly on the checks. The name has to be that second management company, and you have them sign a contract with what they're actually doing. It's very important that you do this. When they do try to sue you, the management company has no assets. The management company has no income besides the bills that it's paying. Makes sense? So an LLC structure is the most important thing that you could have in business, in your personal life. His houses that he owns, it could be in an LLC so if you're living on 15th Avenue, and that house is on 15th Avenue, put the address of the house, so it's 123 15th Avenue, LLC. That's who owns the house, okay? And the owner of that LLC, again, is your private foundation in Liechtenstein. Extremely important. Then you sign a lease with that LLC. Again, there's an issue. You have to remember that there's a reason why you sign a lease, because on paper it looks as you're just renting the house. And in that lease, you have to make sure the renter is responsible for everything for that house. This way, if someone should fall in your house or fall down the steps and sue you for $80 million, they have to sue whoever manages the house, and that's the tenant. But if the tenant has no money because everything is in their LLCs and their private foundation, then what do they get? Exactly. So making wealth is very important, and for some, you're very gifted at making wealth, but you have to remember that you're not going to make this wealth throughout your entire career, okay? I know you started in your teens. I don't know if you were 12 years old or 13, but the point is now you're in your mid-20s. Your generation is getting older now. Yes, you are growing intrepidly, and your channel keeps making more and more money, but at a certain point, you're going to hit the peak. And that's what you need to be concerned about. Just like in Middle East, those oil barons who became so super wealthy, eventually those oil wells would dry up or oil wouldn't be in demand. And so they had to come up with a new type of way to make money, and instead of spending $1 trillion whatever on shit, they created a city in their country. And that's Dubai and all these other places. So now for you, Mr. Beast, you need to take your money and you need to give it to your private foundation in 3 methods that I mentioned to you. You either create an LLC for your YouTube channel, not a corporation, because a corporation is selling shares on the stock market. That's why you open a corporation. And so there's no reason for you to create a corporation. Don't listen to your accountant or your attorney, because the only thing they're good with is filing documents. That's it. They're not Dr. Hedge Fund. They're not a doctor of finance like myself. I see the mistakes people make, and it's so frustrating because people have all this money, but they're so ignorant, meaning that they don't know how to protect themselves. And going to a law firm, and it could be the best law firm, most Harvard educated with all AAAs, it's nothing if you don't tell them what to do. And so that's my edge on today's story. Thank you, Mr. Beast, and it was a pleasure meeting you this past winter in Vail. And I want to let you know that you are a very gifted person, and you really do know how to intrigue the viewer through the camera lens. Good luck. Thank you so much. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you want to see future videos. That would really help me out. And if you want to say thank you, Anthony, please do thumbs up. It's right there. Just press it. It doesn't hurt. Thank you so much.